getting in shape is going to make you see friendships and relationships differently. And what I mean by that is maybe when you were out of shape and less disciplined, maybe you didn't really pay attention to a lot of things because you weren't really disciplined. Let's keep it a bean, let's keep it a stack. You weren't really disciplined, and you really, so to put this bluntly, you didn't have any standards or boundaries. So a lot of stuff that was going on, you probably let slide, or you might have even engaged in it yourself. A lot of things that are sort of degenerate or don't really benefit you or that are harmful, staying up super late. A lot of guys have these friends, for one, right? One of many things that you start noticing when you get in shape and you get disciplined as well. For one, is that, these folks really don't value eh, sleep, right? This is a major one. And it sounds weird, like sleep. What do you mean? Yeah, like you'll be hanging out till 2 in the morning, 3, 4 in the morning. And that is extremely detrimental. That is a sign. I'm sorry, but like I said, you might not understand it if you didn't go through this journey. But for my guys that went through this journey, that went through a fitness journey or self discipline, or they really just looked at themselves, they looked at the man in the mirror. Shout out Michael Jackson, rest in peace. But they might have looked at the man in the mirror and said, "Man, this is like staying up till 3 or 4 in the morning is fucking whack, right? Like staying up that late, fucking off, goofing off, and getting low rest, then being tired the next day or the next week. Because when you get older, staying up till like 3 or 4 in the morning, you don't just get tired for that next day. You get tired for the whole damn week. You're pretty much inebriated for the whole week. You're pretty much what's that word I'm looking for? I always forget that goddamn word. Anyway, you're incapacitated for like a week the older you get, right? And that's just one thing. That's just one example. I know it seems small, but it's really not small. Like a lot of these people that you're hanging out with are just undisciplined, and it goes with the whole discipline thing. Like staying up till 4 in the morning, there's absolute, unless you have a job, obviously, but even then, I would even try to switch that type of job. If you have to work, I understand you got to make a living. It's hard out here, but if you can help it, get a job where you don't work those nights. But unless you work, there's no reason to be up till 4 in the fucking morning. That's just part of that discipline thing. And you really don't realize this until you start getting in shape. This is just one of many things. Also, this is something that is kind of surprising because you're gonna be like, what does this even have to do with getting in physical shape? Well, I'm gonna explain to you. So another huge thing is you start noticing the type of conversations that your friends might have, right? You start noticing the lack of intelligence that some of your friends, their conversations might revolve around. Okay. Some of their conversations might revolve around victimhood, like, oh, it's this person's fault that this is happening to me. And oh man, the government is this. And oh man, this and that. And woe is me. On top of them gossiping, right? Like, gossip is the lowest form of conversation. And for a lot of overweight, undisciplined men, I'm just gonna keep it a bean. I'm gonna keep it a stack. This is 90% of their conversation is gossiping, talking about other people, talking about some of the people in their own quote unquote friend group, right? And the quote unquote friend group, a lot of hating on people that in their own friend group. And you're maybe wondering to yourself, dang, like they're talking about Jimmy over here, and I thought he was a friend, but when he's not here, they're constantly talking about, you start noticing this type of stuff when you get fit and disciplined, because now it's just like when you start noticing what you're putting into your body. I'm talking about health wise, nutrition wise, exercise wise. You start also taking care of your mental diet as well, because the diet, trust me, when you change your diet, it's not only a physical, it's not only a food diet, it's not only a diet of physical consumption, but it's a diet of spiritual consumption as well. You start cleansing yourself of certain conversations and certain topics. So now when you get disciplined, when you maybe shed that fat and you start paying attention to what you're eating more whole foods. Now when you're hanging out with these people, you're thinking to yourself, man, why are they gossiping so much? Especially for grown ass men. For grown ass men to just huddle around and gossip. And this is a lot of guys, this is what they do. I'm telling you guys from experience, this is what they do. A lot of guys that are unstructured, undisciplined, out of shape, they're going to gather around, get drunk, and gossip about other people. Now, ask yourself, is that a good mental diet? That's like the equivalent, a conversation full of gossip and victimhood and whining and complaining is like that mental diet is equivalent to a diet of cheeseburgers, nachos, a 2 liter of Pepsi, some donuts, all in one sitting. Okay. Now I've said this before in a lot of videos. When you get lean, when you finally shed all that fat, you could start incorporating some of these. You can increase your calories a little more, but this is a different topic for a different subject. I'm just saying in general, right? That's the diet equivalent. Okay. And I'm just gonna be real with you guys. When you get fit, when you get lean, when you get disciplined, I'm not gonna lie to you, you're really not gonna have much friends. I'm just keeping it. I'm just keeping it real. I'm keeping it 100 with y'all. You're not gonna have many friends. A lot of people are not gonna want to hang out with you, and vice versa. You're not gonna want to hang out with them. It's kind of like it's just a natural thing. It's just gonna naturally happen to where you guys start separating, and it's completely fine, and it's completely natural, and it's actually par for course. And I would actually say that if you are still hanging around with the same people, then you're doing something wrong, right? If you're still hanging out with the same people that are doing the same shit, talking about the same gossip and whining and complaining, which is most men, honestly, gambling. This is another thing too, like this whole thing with gambling on sports. You got all of these what is it called? I forgot. King of drafts, and you have all of these sort of stakes. Drake, when on my other Instagram, I followed him, and he would always advertise that shit, stake. And it's sports betting. This is the type of shit that they do. You start telling yourself, man, I can't do this. I'm too good for this. And quite honestly, let me say this: a lot of times we have this little moral thing of, oh, you're not better than anyone just because you got in shape. Well, I'm here to say, man, sometimes I like to get politically incorrect, as you guys know, or you might not know. But if you're objectively looking at your habits and their habits, you kind of are better than them habit wise. Sorry, but then again, not sorry, because now you're like, man, I'm not gonna stay till 5 in the morning trying to hit strip clubs and being thirsty for broads. That's another thing too, man. Um, the whole thing with being thirsty, a lot of men are thirsty as hell, and a lot of men are so lost in gooning and consuming x-rated materials that they're on a constant cycle of thirstiness, right? All they consume is x-rated materials, and they even talk about it amongst each other. Yeah, man, I watched this one adult movie, and that certain actress, this is the conversations I've heard before, and this actress so and so is she's bad and stuff. And I'm just like, okay, why are we talking about that? Why are we talking about x-rated material? Even when I was watching it back in those days, even when I was watching goon material, I'm like, bro, I don't want to talk about this with you. The grown ass, we're two grown men talking about this. Like, that's gross. I don't want to talk about this. And that's the type of stuff they consume, and it leaks out through their day-to-day dealings. Like, they're thirsty. The way they interact with women, if they ever do, is thirsty, and they're just lost and consumed in a world of gooning. And this is something that when you do get disciplined, when you start, like I said, you start cleaning up not only your physical or your food diet, you start cleaning up what you watch. Now you're looking at gooning and goon material like, this is bad. This is a bad diet right here. You stop, but your friends are still engaging in it, are still indulging in it. And these are just some things that you just can't keep doing, right? And it's gonna get to a point where they're gonna start feeling offended that you can't do all of the bull crap that they're doing, and they'll actually get offended, right? I've said this before. You not engaging in the type of things that they're doing, they're gonna take it as you're attacking the way they live. By you saying, nah, I'm not, I'm good on that, they're going to be like, okay, so this dude is basically, so subconsciously what this registers as, it's like psychological wise, is if he says no to it, then obviously he sees something that is objectionable about it. He sees something that is detestable about it. So therefore, he is seeing something detestable about us. Basically, psychologically, that's what it boils down to. You saying no to the activities that they like is pretty much saying no to them. Because if that's what they like and you're saying no, then you must not like them, right? You must have a problem with them. And in some sense, back to the whole not being politically correct thing, you might, it might come down to that. It might come down to, you might start having a problem with the things that they do because you just don't find it appealing. You don't find it attractive. You don't find it something that is enjoyable anymore, even though these are the same type of things that you just used to love back in the day.